The latest, Trump and Kim Jong-un to meet one-on-one. People watch a TV screen showing file footage of U.S. President Donald Trump, right, and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un during a news program at Seoul Railway Station in Seoul, South Korea, Monday, June 11, 2018. Final preparations are underway in Singapore for Tuesday's historic summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim, including a plan for the leaders to kick things off by meeting with only their translators present, a U.S. official said. AP photo, on Young June, Singapore, AP, latest on a summit between North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and President Donald Trump in Singapore, all times local, 1:45 a.m. For better part of an hour, President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will square off one-on-one, alone but for a pair of translators. That's raising concerns about the risk of holding such a monumental meeting with barely anyone to bear witness. Trump and Kim will meet on Singapore's Sentosa Island for roughly 45 minutes while their entourages wait nearby. The huddle will come before a larger meeting and a working lunch attended by top advisors to the president and their North Korean counterparts. Word of the private meeting unleashed a torrent of criticism on social media from national security veterans who worry the lack of a transcript will create a he said showdown that could turn into a major headache for Trump. ___12:40 a.m. Former NBA star Dennis Rodman has arrived in Singapore, hours before President Donald Trump is set to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un for the first time. Rodman emerged from the baggage claim area at Changi Airport around midnight Monday. He told reporters he wasn't sure if he would meet Kim in Singapore. Last week, Rodman said he would give whatever support is needed to his friends, Trump and Kim. White House officials have said Rodman will play no official role in the diplomatic negotiations. Trump said last week that Rodman had not been invited to the summit. He is one of the few Westerners to have met the North Korean leader on visits to the capital city Pyongyang. ___11:30 p.m. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres is urging U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to seize the opportunity to support a peaceful, prosperous, secure and verifiably denuclearized Korean peninsula. The UN chief is commending the two leaders for pursuing a diplomatic solution and seeking to break out of the dangerous cycle that created so much concern last year. Guterres told reporters Monday ahead of the Trump-Kim summit in Singapore that peace and verifiable denuclearization must remain the clear and shared goal. The Secretary-General says he wrote to both leaders last month saying, the road ahead will require cooperation, compromise and a common cause. He says the UN system stands ready to support this process in every way, including verification if requested by both parties. __11:15 p.m. Former U.S. Defense Secretary William Perry is warning that if President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un fail to reach a deal at their Singapore summit, there's an increased danger for a catastrophic military solution. Perry says, if it falls apart, it's probably worse than as if we ever started. Perry says he's hopeful the two leaders will discuss normalization of ties as well as denuclearization to improve the prospect for long-term success of any deal. He spoke Monday to the Associated Press at a Luxembourg Forum conference on preventing nuclear catastrophe event in Geneva. Perry also served as President Bill Clinton's special envoy to North Korea and traveled there in 1999 to discuss its nuclear and missile programs. __11 p.m. The White House says President Donald Trump plans to visit U.S. military bases in Guam and Hawaii on the return from his historic summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Trump is expected to depart Singapore on Tuesday night after his meeting with Kim on Sentosa Island. Before leaving Singapore, the president is scheduled to address the media. The White House says the president will stop at Andersen Air Force Base in Guam on Tuesday and also travel to Joint Base Pearl Harbor-Hickam in Hawaii later in the day. The president visited the USS Arizona Memorial at Pearl Harbor last November on his way to Asia. Trump is expected to return to the White House on Wednesday morning. 10:30 p.m. France's Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian says he will be the first one to applaud U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un if they reach a deal on nuclear weapons disarmament of the Korean peninsula. Le Drian says that everything that has to do with disarmament is positive. The French foreign minister met Monday with his Swedish counterpart Margot Wallström in Stockholm. Le Drian cautions, "We have been enthusiastic before and it has led to failures." Wallström hosted talks in March with North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho in Stockholm. She says one should be prepared for both a fruitful meeting and a failure. 9:56 p.m. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is out of his luxurious hotel for a late-night city tour hours ahead of his summit with President Donald Trump. Singapore Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan says Kim went to the Flower Dome at Gardens by the Bay in Singapore on Monday night. The foreign minister posted a photo showing him with Kim at the place on Facebook. South Korean media says Kim went there with his sister Kim Yo-jong and other top deputies. Kim is meeting Trump on Tuesday for a historic summit aimed at discussing the future of his nuclear program. It would be the first summit between a sitting U.S. president and a North Korean leader. 8:20 p.m. The White House says in a statement ahead of President Donald Trump's historic summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un that the talks with North Korea are moving more quickly than expected. The White House says Trump now plans to depart Singapore on Tuesday evening ahead of schedule. The White House says Trump will address the media on Tuesday following his summit with Kim and depart Singapore at approximately 8 p.m. local time for the United States. The president had been expected to leave Singapore on Wednesday morning. Trump is set to meet with Kim in Singapore on Tuesday morning, 7:30 p.m. Seoul says President Donald Trump talked with South Korean President Moon Jae-in about his upcoming summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and expressed optimism for a diplomatic breakthrough. South Korea's presidential office says Trump filled Moon on the details of the pre-summit negotiations between Washington and Pyongyang. The Blue House didn't elaborate on what Moon was told during the 40-minute telephone call. The Blue House says Moon told him South Koreans will be praying for a miraculous result. Moon said earlier he hopes the summit will be a historic milestone for peace, but it will only be the first step in a complex and lengthy process. Moon says the hostility cannot be solved at once by a single meeting between the leaders. 6:25 p.m. Iran says North Korea should be wary of negotiating with President Donald Trump following his withdrawal from the landmark 2015 nuclear agreement. Foreign Ministry spokesman Bahram Ghasemi said Monday that North Korea should approach this week's summit with Trump with awareness. He says Iran views Trump and the United States with great pessimism, saying they are known for quitting treaties and violating their commitments. Trump withdrew the U.S. from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, which the Obama administration had reached with Iran, Britain, France, Germany, China and Russia. The agreement required Iran to curb its uranium enrichment in exchange for relief from international sanctions. Trump has announced the restoration of U.S. sanctions, while European leaders are trying to preserve the deal. The U.S. president is set to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Singapore on Tuesday. 6:15 p.m. President Donald Trump has accepted an invitation to return to Singapore for a state visit this fall. That's according to Singapore's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Trump is expected to travel to Asia in November in conjunction with a pair of regional summits. The White House did not immediately respond to questions about the president's fall plans. A White House read out of Trump's meetings with Prime Minister Lee Hsien-Loong Monday did not include mention of a state visit. Singapore will be hosting Trump's summit Tuesday with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, 6 p.m. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the United States is prepared to take actions to provide North Korea with sufficient certainty that denuclearization is not something that ends badly for them. Pompeo is briefing reporters in Singapore ahead of President Donald Trump's summit Tuesday with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. He says the U.S. is prepared to show North Korea that, rather than denuclearization posing a threat to North Korea, it's the opposite. Pompeo won't say whether Trump would consider withdrawing U.S. troops from the Korean Peninsula. Pompeo says that U.S. sanctions on the North will remain in place until the North denuclearizes. But he says if diplomacy fails to move in the right direction, the sanctions will increase. 5:50 p.m. President Donald Trump called the leaders of South Korea and Japan Monday ahead of his summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. That's according to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who is briefing reporters in Singapore. He says Trump spoke by phone with the two U.S. allies as preparatory talks continue between American and North Korean officials ahead of the leaders' sit-down Tuesday morning. Pompeo says there is enormous potential for the summit, but lowered expectations that the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula will happen after one meeting. He says, "We are hopeful the summit will have set the conditions for future productive talks." Pompeo also says Tuesday's meeting presents a test of Kim's willingness to agree to deal his nuclear weapons away for protections from the United States. 3:05 p.m. The lobby of President Donald Trump's hotel in Singapore has turned into a bustling mixing ground for U.S. government officials of all stripes. At the swanky Shangri-La Hotel, Secret Service officers are huddling in preparation for the president's movements. White uniformed U.S. Navy members are perched on pearl-colored couches. Top State Department officials can be seen strolling through the lobby. An Associated Press journalist spotted CIA officer Andy Kim, a Korea expert and part of the U.S. delegation, making his way through. They're joined by seemingly unsuspecting tourists, youth groups and a curiously dressed bellman with a tall, plumed hat. The hotel was picked in part due to its experience in hosting high-security events. Recently, top military officials including U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis were at the hotel for the Shangri-La Dialogue, a global defense summit, 2:20 p.m. President Donald Trump has returned to his hotel in Singapore following a lunch meeting with Prime Minister Lee Hsien-Loong. Singapore is hosting Tuesday's historic summit between Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un to discuss the fate of North Korea's nuclear weapons program. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who sat next to Trump at the lunch, says in a statement that Trump is well prepared for the meeting. Pompeo met Kim during 2 visits to North Korea in the lead-up to Tuesday's summit. Trump was scheduled to attend a meet-and-greet at his hotel with U.S. Embassy personnel. ____2:10 p.m. President Donald Trump got an early birthday celebration during lunch with Singapore's Prime Minister. Trump met with Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, Lee Hsien Loong, and aides to both leaders Monday. Singapore's Minister for Foreign Affairs tweeted a photo of Trump and a cake adorned with one candle. The caption said, "Celebrating birthday, a bit early. Trump turns 72 on Thursday." But before he celebrates, Trump meets North Korea's Kim Jong-un in a highly anticipated summit on Tuesday, ____2 p.m. South Korean President Moon Jae-in has no current plans to join President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un at the end of their summit Tuesday in Singapore. Moon spokesman Kim Kyeom also said Monday that Moon has no plans yet to speak with Trump after the meeting. Moon has expressed hope that the summit will lead to a three-way declaration also including Seoul to formally end the 1950-53 Korean War. But Moon spokesman says it's unlikely that such a declaration would take place while Trump and Kim were still in Singapore. Trump has raised the possibility of further summits and an agreement ending the Korean War by replacing the armistice signed in 1953 with a peace treaty. China and South Korea would have to sign off on any legal treaty, ____1:15 p.m. President Donald Trump says he thinks things can work out very nicely with North Korea on the eve of his historic summit with Kim Jong-un. Trump expressed optimism about Tuesday's meeting during a working lunch with Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, Lee Hsien Loong, and aides to both leaders. Trump says, "We've got a very interesting meeting in particular tomorrow, and I think things can work out very nicely." He also tells Lee the decision to hold the summit in the island city-state of Singapore was made very consciously, and offers thanks. Trump tells Lee that, "We appreciate your hospitality and professionalism and your friendship, ____1:05 p.m. President Donald Trump has thanked the Prime Minister of Singapore for hosting Tuesday's historic summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Trump told Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, Lee Hsien Loong, that it was a real honor to be with him. Trump commented as representatives from both countries took their seats for a working lunch at Singapore's Government House. The discussions come on the eve of Trump's historic meeting with Kim. Trump and Lee shook hands for photographers after a one-on-one meeting and before they entered the room for lunch. Among those representing the U.S. at lunch are Secretary Mike Pompeo, White House Chief of Staff John Kelly and National Security Advisor John Bolton, ____1 p.m. The U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines, Sung Kim, plans another round of meetings Monday afternoon with North Korean officials as both sides continue to prepare for Tuesday's summit in Singapore. That according to a senior official in President Donald Trump's administration. The official was not authorized to comment publicly about on internal deliberations and requested anonymity. Trump is set to hold a historic summit Tuesday with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on the island city-state. Sung Kim has taken the lead on policy negotiations with North Korea. Sung Kim held an initial round of meetings with the North earlier Monday, ____12:20 p.m. President Donald Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un spent Monday huddling with advisors in luxury Singapore hotels less than half a mile apart, readying for a nuclear summit that could define the fate of millions, and their own political futures. Both sides also worked to finalize preparations for the unprecedented summit. The meeting was kicking off at 9 a.m. Tuesday with a handshake between Trump and Kim. A U.S. official says the leaders then plan to meet one-on-one, joined only by translators, for up to 2 hours before admitting their respective advisors. The official was not authorized to speak publicly about internal deliberations and insisted on anonymity. Tuesday's summit will be the first between a North Korean leader and a sitting American president. Copyright 2018 The Associated Press. All rights reserved. This material may not be published, broadcast, written or redistributed.